Уважаеми колеги, скъпи гости, за мен е чест да приветствам всички вас от тази трибуна. В следващия час и половина ще имаме възможността да проведем обсъждане по една, смятам, ключова тема с особен принос за изграждане на по-справедлива и приобщаваща Европа. Във времена, когато се провежда обществена консултация с европейски граждани в контекста на големия, но нееднозначен дебат за бъдещето на Европа, за посоката на нейното развитие, най-добрият начин Европейския съюз да покаже своята релевантност е да продължи да защитава и да работи в полза на своите граждани. Положителното укрепване на социалното измерение на Европейския съюз, особено след последиците от финансовата криза и събития като Брекзит, допринася за придържане и изпълнение на социалните цели, заложени в договорите, и гарантира, че европейските граждани се идентифицират и виждат ползите от европейския проект. Намаляването на икономическите и социалните различия между и в рамките на държавите членки са от решаващо значение за общото икономическо благосъстояние на Европейския съюз. България високо оценява прокламирания през месец ноември 2017 година в Гьотеборг Европейски стълб на социалните права като инструмент с ценностно-политически характер от една страна и експертно приложение от друга. Значението на социалния стълб е с потенциал да определя устойчивото развитие на европейския социален модел. Изпълнението на Европейския социален стълб е наш общ политически ангажимент и отговорност, както на Европейския съюз, така и на равнище държавите членки, като се отчитат социално-икономическите различия и многообразието на националните системи, както и наличието на различни нюанси по отношение ролята на социалните партньори и приложението му в съответствие с принципите на субсидиарност и пропорционалност. В контекста на застаряващото и намаляващото население, глобализацията, техническия прогрес и цифровизацията на обществата и икономиките, от решаващо значение да се инвестира в човешки капитал за подкрепа на производителността, растежа и стабилните икономики и за пълноценното участие в обществото и на пазара на труда в преход. Европейският стълб на социалните права следва да бъде разглеждан като инструмент за повишаване степента на сближаване между държавите членки в областта на социалната политика, неравенствата в доходите и демографските предизвикателства. България в качеството си на ротационен председател на Съвета на Европейския съюз инициира конкретни, конструктивни обсъждания с оглед формирането на общи възгледи и позиции за пълноценна реализация на заложените в стълба цели и ценностни насоки. В допълнение, българското председателство на Съвета на Европейския съюз се стреми да насърчава дебата относно социалното измерение на Европа, бъдещето на Европейския социален фонд, социалните аспекти на следващата многогодишна финансова рамка. Дизайнът на фондовете, инвестиращи в човешкия капитал, правилата за реализацията им следва да имат за цел да обезпечат необходимото ниво на финансиране на социална Европа. То трябва да е достатъчно, за да може да подкрепи и допълни националните усилия за осигуряване на по-добра и качествена заетост, да отговори на предизвикателствата, свързани с бъдещето на труда, да подкрепи правителствата в борбата с бедността и безработицата, в това число и младежката безработица. За да получим като резултат действително икономическо и териториално сближаване, пътят ни изисква да продължи подкрепата на мерките в образованието, иновациите, активното включване, уменията и учението през целия живот. Благодаря за вниманието. Уважаеми гости и колеги, позволете ми сега да предоставя думата на професор, доктор по икономика Катя Владимирова, която ще модерира ключовите изказвания на нашите уважавани говорители в тази сесия. Професор доктор Владимирова е преподавател във водещи български висши учебни заведения, Университета за национално и световно стопанство и Нов български университет. Професора е в Института за изследване на населението и човека към Българската академия на науките и гост-професор в редица чуждестранни университети. Моля да имате предвид, че заявки за изказване ще бъдат приемани до края на изказванията на ключовите говорители в сесията. Сега, професор Владимирова, заповядайте, имате думата.
Уважаеми дами и господа, скъпи гости, за мен е изключителна възможност и удоволствие да участвам в тази сесия и форум на високо равнище на Европейския съюз в рамките на българското председателство. Изграждането на една мирна, по-богата, по-приобщаваща социална Европа е дългогодишна мечта и стремеж на милиони граждани. В съвременния свят, в годините след последната световна война, бяха създадени редица наднационални обединения и съюзи на всички континенти, подобни на Европейския съюз, Северна и Южна Америка, Югоизточна Азия, между едни от най-богатите в ресурсно отношение държави на 4-те континента на света, БРИКС, но Европейския съюз има обхват, а още повече политики и действия, които никоя друга няма от тези структури. Това е социалната политика, социалните аспекти, гарантиране на социални права в контекста на изграждането на една по-приобщаваща и справедлива Европа, достигането на цели, които предопределят бъдещето на човека и неговото развитие, това число и в контекста на концепцията на Организацията на Обединените нации за развитието на човека. Бих искала да отбележа, че целите, които се гарантират със стратегиите, програмите и други инструменти на Европейския съюз за развитието на динамична, конкурентоспособна и социална икономика с взаимно обогатяване и при споделени отговорности е изключително важно. Това създава реални предпоставки за по-нататъчното развитие на социална Европа и постигане на тази основа на по-добри, по-справедливи условия на труд и живот на нейните граждани. Радвам се в този аспект, че моята страна, България, София, е домакин на тази изключителна среща и че на нея се дискутират теми, които са предопределящи за решаването на редица проблеми, свързани с постигането на по-голяма социална справедливост на основата на споделени ценности и ресурси. За нас този форум има изключително значение и в контекста на намаляване на съществуващите все още значителни различия между държавите членки, между регионите и отделните социални групи. В този контекст очакванията на българските граждани са значителни и по въпросите, които ще бъдат дискутирани на този форум и особено темите на Европейския стълб на социалните права. Включените в него 20 области обхващат различни социални аспекти и главно образование, заетост, сигурност, заплащане на труда, равенство и търсене на баланс между семейния и професионалния живот, гарантиране на здравословни и безопасни условия на труд, социална закрила и приобщаване на всички, грижи и подкрепа за социално слабите деца, болните и бездомните, възрастните, осигуряване на достъп до публичните услуги и равнопоставеност и други, т.е. изграждане на една Европа за всички. Равните възможности и достъпа на всички до пазара на труда са сред най-важните, които преминават през достъп до образование, обучение и учение през целия живот, като предпоставка за по-високи и сигурни доходи, социално осигуряване и други. В тази връзка бих искала да акцентирам на важната роля, която има развитието на приобщаващото образование и прилагането на концепцията за изграждане на потенциал във всички граждани за включване в платения труд, осигуряване на труд, социална сигурност и ликвидиране на изключването и постигането на равенство. Равенството между половете е равенство за всички на практика и във всички области, основна предпоставка и за постигане на баланс между професионалния и семейния живот, постигане на по-висока степен на социално включване и развитие, но и за успешно решаване на демографските проблеми, които съществуват и се задълбочават в редица страни от Европа. Концепцията при заплащането за равностоен труд, която се съдържа в този документ, т.е. вградена в Европейския стълб за социалните права, е един нов аспект от темата за равнопоставеността и тезата за равно заплащане за еднакъв труд. Реализирането на тази концепция е ключова за намаляване на различията в заплащането за равен труд не само в отделните организации и сектори, но и равностоен труд в различните други области в икономиката и обществения живот, намаляване различията в получаваните пенсии, драстичните различия имам предвид, и други доходи от труд между отделните групи от населението. Постигането на успех в тази област ще бъде и едно от най-големите достижения в европейската социална политика, а може би и в световен мащаб. За социална Европа със сравнително ограничени човешки ресурси е изключително важно включването на всички в образование, обучение, заетост и социално осигуряване. Това е голямото предизвикателство за старееща Европа със сравнително високи нива на нискообразовани и неквалифицирани групи от населението. В този контекст решаването, създаването на потенциал за включване чрез образование и приобщаване от най-ранна възраст е изключително важен аспект. В заключение бих искала да акцентирам, че изключително важен въпрос в осигуряването на по-добри условия на труд, живот, социална сигурност, социална защита и достоен живот на гражданите в Европа е борбата срещу неформалната икономика, в която все още работят немалко граждани на Европейския съюз и която би могла да намери повече място в политиките на Европейския съюз, в това число и на социалните партньори и гражданското общество. Благодаря ви за вниманието. И сега ми позволете да дам думата на поред на ключовите говорители на тази сесия, като първо бих искала да дам думата на господин Luca JAHIER, който е председател на Европейския икономически и социалния съвет, и всъщност моето последно заключително изречение беше в известна степен и предизвикателство към него. Давам ви думата, господин.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Professor. Dear President, Honorable Member, I am really honored to address today your Conference of Parliamentary Committee for Union Affairs. And I wish particularly to thank the Chair of the European Committee of the Bulgarian Parliament, Christian Vigenin, for his kind invitation. I am particularly glad to be here at the very beginning of my mandate. I was just elected on the 18th of April as President of the European Economic and Social Committee, the House of Organized Civil Society at the EU level. I am really convinced that close cooperation between COSAC and EESC is of foremost importance as we, the House of Participatory Democracy, are here to complement the key role of you as representative democracy. I believe the national parliament have to be necessary partner for the implementation of the European social pillar of social rights. In a time of nationalistic and populistic trends, rising inequalities, aging society, poverty, digitalization, globalization and migration, as already mentioned by the Chair, the EU has to deliver on social progress to improve living and working conditions in Europe, as stated by Madam Professor. Although growth is back in the EU, poverty is still touching 24% of Europeans, and in my home country, Italy, youth unemployment is standing at 33%. With these figures in mind, one cannot be surprised at protest vote and risk of mistrust in democratic institutions. I'm sure you would agree with me that the EU must urgently address the root causes by the discontent of its citizens and reinforce what it has neglected before, namely the social dimension of its policies. The EESC has for a very long time called for a stronger social dimension before the EMU and at large of all the European Union. We made a great effort to prepare the discussion on this European social pillar, and we accompanied the process with three main opinions based on the direct input of national civil society organizations and large debate we realized in 2016 and 2017. So when the pillar of social rights was finally proclaimed at the Gothenburg summit in November 2017, we recognized that it was a step in the right direction. But we always told that it is obvious that the proclamation of the pillar cannot stand alone. The implementation will be the real test. The pillar must become now a positive force for Europe and its citizens, and should address the imbalances between economic and social policy in the EU effectively. It is a policy response to the challenges of poverty and social exclusion, but this policy response will not be credible without significant financial support and legislative action. The principle of the European Pillar of Social Rights and the need for its implementation should constitute one of the guiding lines in the negotiation of the next EU multi-annual financial framework. In its opinion, the EC has asked for a roadmap for the pillar implementation and a clear division of tasks between the different actors. Here, Member States must play a crucial role. Making a reality of the social pillar will require improvement in Member States and a robust budgetary base, investment and current spending. Spending needs are particularly large in lower income countries and in countries that suffered income declines in recent years. Scope for more spending can be created within Member States and with the help of the various EU-level programs. Also, private sector investment can make a contribution in some key areas, but will not be enough and cannot ensure against the exclusion of the socially weakest. We think that more public investment within Member States can be facilitated with a reference to a sort of golden rule for public investment with a social objective. We would allow more flexibility in budget rules with a view to achieving the aims of the European Pillar of Social Rights. We think also that more public investment can also be directly supported by the use of the existing EU instrument, either the European Structural and Investment Fund or also the last European Fund for Strategic Investment. Last proposal of last week, if I remember well, of Vice President Katainen, InvestEU is another very good step in the good direction. And finally, appropriate taxation policies, including effective fight against tax fraud, tax avoidance and aggressive tax planning, should allow Member States and the EU to raise additional means to contribute to the financing of the social pillar. The European pillar should also be linked closely with the general EU strategy to implement the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, and we hope this will be clearly indicated in the document to be adopted by the Commission in the months to come. As one of the main tools of implementation, the Commission has lastly proposed a new social scoreboard to be used when issuing recommendations under the European semester. And we think the European semester should be the key element of governance and implementation of the pillar. There is a consensus among civil society organizations that this scoreboard, with currently 12 indicators, needs to be aligned with the 20 principles of the social pillar. The Commission has also put some different legal and non-legal instruments. I will leave to the Director HAAG to present this, but however, as development accelerates, we will have to follow and also to take this proposal from serious and take a step forward. The Commission should also enhancing the European Social Fund social inclusion strand alongside the other two strands, education and employment. And we think that a minimum of 30% or more, not less than the current MFF of the European Social Fund Plus, should be earmarked to combating poverty and social exclusion. Many ideas on how to implement the social pillar and even additional ideas can be put forward. However, nothing will happen if we do not work together. National Parliament and EU institutions are close partners in this endeavour, in particular, also due to the specific subsidiarity role. We must work shoulder in shoulder to make the social dimension come alive and to make sure that European Commission proposals are implemented. Some proposals, of course, can be changed, but if they are just blocked or too much postponed, this will amount to doing nothing. And doing nothing is not an option today. In the case of non-action, citizens will turn their frustration against all those in power. And we think that citizens will not distinguish so much between the EU, national government and national parliament. and protest can and has found an outlet both in European as well as national parliamentary elections. Therefore, we need clearly to work together, either at European and national level, to create results around this pillar and the implementation of the pillar. Together, we can make the difference in implementing the European pillar and strengthen the social dimension in Europe to the benefit of our citizens. For this reason, I very welcome the last draft of your final declaration, and I found very appropriate and very in the good direction. I will strongly support. A Europe with protect and care is the strong, good answer to the challenge of a Europe of progress, growth and cohesion as a cornerstone of any sustainable competitiveness and future. Thank you.
Благодаря на господин ЖАＨИЕР за интересните идеи и предложения и преди всичко за разбирането и подкрепата да се работи заедно всички институции, национални и на равнище Европейски съюз, за реализиране на идеите за социалните измерения на развитието и в конкретно за предложението му за разработване на пътна карта за приложението на стълба и още други идеи, които са свързани с решаване на въпросите за високата младежка безработица, бедността, социалните изключвания. Действително в лицето на организацията, която той ръководи, Европейския съюз има един надежден партньор в реализирането на своите политики. Сега позволете ми да дам думата на следващия представител. Това е господин Марсел ХААГ, който е директор по политическата координация, Директорат 1, главен секретариат на Европейската комисия. Имате думата, господин ХААГ.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Moderator. The European Pillar of Social Rights is a major achievement for social Europe, and also a hallmark of the Juncker Commission's commitment and ambitions in the social field. President Juncker first presented the idea for a European Pillar of Social Rights in his State of the Union speech before the European Parliament in September 2015. In the aftermath of the deepest economic and social crisis in living memory, the goal of creating the pillar was to launch a process of upward convergence, a process to improve working and living conditions across the European Union. The pillar has been conceived in the face of deep changes in our societal, technological, and economic realities. Its purpose is to serve as a compass that helps us design policy responses that address technological, societal, and economic challenges effectively. The Commission has presented its proposal in April 2017 after a very thorough public consultation in which also the Economic and Social Committee, as we just heard, played a crucial role. The pillar was then jointly proclaimed by the European Parliament, the Council, and the European Commission at the Social Summit in Gothenburg in November 2017. This was an important moment for the European Union as it sent out not only a very strong message on social Europe, but also a very strong message of unity of the EU member states. The broader context in which the pillar is to be seen is the debate, the ongoing debate about the future of Europe, on which leaders will meet in May 2019 in Sibiu in Romania, and the joint proclamation here was an important milestone also in this process. The pillar sets out 20 key principles which cover three main areas: equal opportunities and access to the labor market, fair working conditions, and social protection and inclusion. The pillar addresses a broad range of issues, ranging from inclusive education to active support to job seekers to social protection. But Of course, the implementation of the pillar is key, and the implementation of the pillar is a shared commitment. The European pillar has to be implemented at both the level of the European Union and at the level of the member states within the respective competences and powers of the different levels of governance. We speak here about a political commitment, and it's important to stress that the pillar does not change the existing division of competences and powers between the European Union and the member states. Employment and social policies continue to be, to a large extent, in the hands of the member states. This means that national parliaments have also a key role to play in implementing the pillar. When I refer to the pillar as a shared commitment, it means that also the EU level has, of course, its important role to play. The EU institutions do this mainly in three ways. Firstly, in those areas where the EU has a mandate to propose legislation, we take the pillar forward. Just to give you one example, in April 2017, the Commission presented a proposal on work-life balance. Other areas in which proposals were recently made concern the access to social protection and transparent and predictable working conditions. The second way in which the pillar is taken forward is the European semester, indeed. In practice, this means that the European Commission identifies challenges that member states face in the employment and social field, and the Commission prepares country-specific recommendations to address these challenges. The Council of Ministers has the final word in this process. The EPSCO Council, in charge of employment and social affairs, is set to agree on a new set of recommendations at its next meeting later this month. The third element that I want to mention is the EU financial funds and programs. The Commission has recently made proposals for the future multi-annual financial framework for the 2021 to 2027 period, strengthening the social dimension in the EU finances and the implementation of the pillar are a key aspect. The President of the Economic and Social Committee has already mentioned the strong investment dimension, which clearly also has a social and employment dimension. The Commission proposed, in addition to this very strong focus on investment, also a new cluster of funds and programs dedicated to investing in people, social cohesion, and values. Overall, the Commission proposed to allocate a budget of almost 140 billion euros to this. This cluster will include the new European Social Fund Plus, the Erasmus program, the European Solidarity Corps, and the programs for Creative Europe and Justice, Rights and Values. As you can see, the Commission is making full use of the instruments that the EU treaties provides it with in order to take the pillar forward. However, I would like to stress again that it would be wrong to believe that the pillar could be taken forward single-handedly at EU level. We all have to make a joint effort, bringing together the efforts at EU and national level. Thank you very much.
Благодаря ви, господин ХААГ, особено много за очертаните политики и технологическите аспекти на реализирането на Европейския стълб на социалните права, на неговото бъдеще, на свързването му с ресурсите и с високите очаквания, които имаме към него. Позволете ми да дам думата сега на следващия господин Ľuboš BLAHA, доктор Ľuboš BLAHA, който е председател от Словакия, от Словашката република, председател на Комисията по европейските въпроси на Националния съвет на Словашката република. Заповядайте, доктор BLAHA. Трибуната е ваша.
Thank you, Professor. First of all, I would like to appreciate very much the Bulgarian presidency for opening this issue of strong social Europe, because I think that strong social Europe is crucial for the future of our continent. The European pillar of social rights is extremely important for the survival of the European unity and social peace. Why? We see the rise of the right-wing extremism caused by the social frustration and rising fears of the working people from the drastic consequences of globalization, deregulation, and liberalization. We also see the hegemony of neoliberal and technocratic economic thinking, which weakens the social cohesion, equality, and communitarian values in the European Union and compromises the European social model. I believe the European project is not sustainable if there is a huge regional and class inequality, and if the business Darwinist thinking is going to kill the European solidarity. Let's return to the roots of EU integration. Let's return to Altiero Spinelli Ventotene Manifesto with its social emphasis. I think the pillar is one of the most important acts of Juncker's Commission, and hopefully it can bring more social face to European Union. As we say in Slovakia, the famous slogan of Alexander Dubček, let's build the socialism with human face. I would say today, let's build European Union with human face. Well, I will raise also few problems of pillar. First of all, in many ways, the pillar just repeats the same social rights which were stated in the European Social Charter, the Social Charter of the European Union, and Charter on Fundamental Rights. I found only one or two important improvements when the pillar speaks about the social rights of homeless people. It's very important, about paid leave, and I very much appreciate the fight against the poverty of working people. But I see also some step backs from the previous social charters. First, the principle of workers' co-determination in the companies is now weaker than before. Second, the wording of pillar is more pro-market. Liberal leaning, the first priorities are in the typical liberal leaning. There are the values of opportunities, skills, flexibility, etc. And not the classical social democratic or social market leaning, the values of social equality, redistribution, or workers' self-management. This is a problem. Third, in the paragraph on pensions, there is the principle of the equality of men and women, which I totally support. But I would surely defend more social advantages for mothers as regards the pensions and retirement. In my country, during the Soviet socialism, the mothers had the right to retire earlier according to the number of children they raised up. And I believe these positive social affirmative actions toward the mothers should be involved in the pensions policies in the Europe. Now I will continue and be more generally. I would question the overall changes and trends in the European social policies. On the one hand, we solemnly adopted the pillar with its social rights, but these are only the words. However, on the other hand, the new proposal of multi-annual financial framework wants to reduce the money for the cohesion policy, which in reality means the less help for the poorest people and poorest regions. It's just in the direct contradiction to pillar. Next example. On the one hand, the pillar speaks on social protection and equality, and the European Commission even rightfully proposed the regulation on coordination of social security systems. But on the other hand, some member states want to indexate the family benefits for the children who live abroad, while the workers pay contributions in their countries. This is absolutely in contradiction with the European values of social cohesion, and it's discriminatory. So I really welcome that Visegrad Group countries are concerned with this in its latest resolution from Warsaw. My last and concluding remark. The main practical tool of the European institution for fulfilling the pillar are the social, cohesion, and other structural funds. Just imagine that the European Union is the unitary state, with the social pillar as its constitution. Question is, who would get the most of the social benefits in such a European state? The answer is the people in the least developed regions. This is the moral fundament of social policy, to help the most excluded and the most poor people. But how it is possible to take serious the solemn declaration about social rights when the European Commission in the same time deprives itself of the budgetary resources on cohesion policy and propose to reduce the money for the most vulnerable social classes and regions? This is my main concern about the pillar. It's really solemn, it's really nice and quite social, but it's not like a political project, but more like a poem. Without the real political and financial background, it's aesthetically good to read it, it's aesthetically good to perform it like a poem, but the social economic effect will be zero. Let's do something about it, because we extremely need the real social Europe, the Europe with more Dubčekian face. Thank you.
Благодаря на доктор Блаха за много обоснованото и подробно изказване, много аспектно, в много посоки, в минало и в бъдеще. И особено благодаря за предложението му да изградим Европейски съюз с човешко лице. Но и грижата му това дали може да стане и как може да стане заслужава внимание. Има много дискусионни проблеми в неговото изказване, въпроси, които могат да бъдат обект на следващите изказвания. Благодаря, господин.
Уважаеми делегати, преди да стартира дискусията, любезно ви моля вашите изложения да бъдат максимум до минута и половина, като времетраенето ще се отчита на екрана пред вас. Сега, нека да преминем към същинския дебат, като предоставям думата на господин Георгио Кипър.
Είναι αλήθεια ότι μας έφερε δροσερόν αέρα από τη Σλοβακία ο κύριος Μπλάχα με τις αναφορές του για μια Ευρώπη πιο δίκαιη και ισορροπημένη. Το κεντρικό μότο της Βουλγάρικης Προεδρίας λέει «Ισχύς εν δι' ενός». Εγώ διαρωτούμε ισχύς για ποιον και ένωση ανάμεσα σε ποιους. Διότι είναι η αλήθεια πως η Ευρώπη κινείται με πολλές και διαφορετικές ταχύτητες. Θεσπίζονται καλοί νόμοι, εκδίδονται έβυχες οδηγίες, αλλά η αλήθεια είναι πως οι κοινωνικές προκλήσεις είναι αφόρητες και το χάσμα μεταξύ Βορρά και Νότου είναι πάρα πολύ μεγάλο. Όσους πυλώνες κοινωνικών δικαιωμάτων και αν διακηρύξουμε, θα μείνουν κενά γράμματα, εκτός και αν οι κυρίαρχοι κύκλοι της Ευρώπης στοχεύσουν πραγματικά σε μια λειτουργική και δικαιότερη ευρωπαϊκή κοινωνία. Το στίχημα λοιπόν δεν είναι ωραίοι, καλοί νόμοι, αλλά να οδηγήσουμε τα πράγματα σε κοινωνίες οι οποίες θα είναι δικαιότερες. Δικαιότερες μπορούν να γίνουν εάν αυτόν η κυρία Βλαντιμίροβα έβαλε μέσα πνεύμα και ανθρωπισμό σε αυτόν το όραμα το οποίο ξεκίνησε πριν από αρκετά χρόνια στην Ήπειρο μας. Μακριά από μια υλιστική προτεραιότητα σε ό,τι αφορά στα ευρωπαϊκά πράγματα, μπορούμε να επανέλθουμε και να βάλουμε χρώμα ανθρωπιάς, ευαισθησίας, ισορροπίας στην Ήπειρο μας, έτσι που μέσα από ειρηνικές διαδικασίες και κοινωνικά δίκαιες να καταξιώσουμε εκείνους που την ονειρεύτηκαν και την έχτισαν πριν από κάποιες δεκαετίες. Ευχαριστώ.
Господин Бизе, Франция, имате думата.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Dans une intervention préalable, j'avais parlé du marché unique. C'était l'occasion précisément du Brexit. Le marché unique est un marché de 450 millions, je dirais, de consommateurs, le plus gros marché économique mondial. Et j'avais souligné, si vous voulez, l'importance de conserver ce marché unique à l'heure où se profile à l'horizon une fragilisation de cette structure avec précisément le Brexit. Or, le marché unique ne peut se concevoir et donner la pleine dimension, je dirais, de ses potentialités que si nous avons parallèlement un socle européen des droits sociaux de façon à avoir une Europe plus inclusive et plus juste. Alors, ne rêvons pas, si vous voulez, la convergence sociale dès demain matin n'est pas possible. Ceci étant, je pense qu'il est très important d'inscrire une pente tendancielle pour permettre, je dirais, cette uniformisation à terme de façon à gommer ces distorsions de concurrence et faire en sorte que les valeurs de l'Union puissent, je dirais, se dispenser sur l'ensemble des 27 États membres. Il y aurait un certain parallélisme, en quelque sorte, avec l'Union économique et monétaire, qui est encore à parfaire. Deux points sur lesquels j'aimerais insister. La création d'un fonds d'adaptation à la mondialisation, tout simplement parce que la digitalisation de l'économie et la transition énergétique peut laisser sur le côté un certain nombre de nos concitoyens. Et la deuxième chose, à savoir une coordination des régimes de sécurité sociale de façon à éviter des phénomènes de fraude et de tourisme social. Je vous remercie.
Благодаря ви. Госпожа Кавадия, Гърция, имате думата. Заповядайте.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Dear colleagues, the financial crisis that erupted in 2018 onwards left a deep impression to EU finances, especially to the Union's social policies that were connected to working rights and social provisions. Policies that boost investments need to be supported as the easiest and most secure way to ensure social and financial cohesion in the Union. Brexit, that was more or less a symptom of the deep crisis of the restructuring process of the Union, posed also as a cause for the weakening of the EU common policies. Greece, in particular, has made a titanic effort towards the right direction while paying a heavy toll of wage and public investment cuts and welfare fund withdrawal during its recent deep financial crisis. Our country has finally managed to meet EU financial requirements regarding the year gross surplus and financial numbers in general. After 3 memorandums that kept Greece under strict financial supervision, we are approaching a period of gradual financial emancipation with efforts that focus on stabilization of surpluses, increase of public investments, increase of public welfare measures as a counterpoise for wage and pension cuts, especially for the weaker social groups. Furthermore, we are trying to bring to justice people and groups that are responsible for the financial draining of the Greek state. We focus on creating new jobs for the highly educated Greek youth to prevent further brain drain and motivate them into remaining and creating in Greece. Finally, with agreements like the one accomplished between the Greek government and FYROM, we strive to create a safe and positive environment for doing business in the Balkans. Thank you.
Благодаря ви. Сега господин Каракополос, Гърция, има дума.
Ευχαριστώ, κυρία Πρόεδρε. Η βαθιά οικονομική κρίση έχει δημιουργήσει ένα εργασιακό περιβάλλον που είναι σαφώς δυσμενέστερο από αυτό πριν από 10 χρόνια. Υψηλή ανεργία με την Ελλάδα πρωταθλήτρια και αύξηση των ευέλικτων μορφών εργασίας για αυτούς που τουλάχιστον έχουν δουλειά. Στην ουσία πρόκειται για πληρωμή κατώτερη των πραγματικών ωρών εργασίας. Η Ελλάδα πλήττεται εξαιτίας αυτής της κατάστασης από ένα μαζικό κύμα μετανάστευσης, ιδίως νέων ανθρώπων υψηλού μορφωτικού επίπεδου. Τα νούμερα πραγματικά ζαλίζουν, καθώς μιλάμε για εκατοντάδες χιλιάδες. Το αποτέλεσμα, εκτός των άλλων, είναι και δημογραφική συρρίκνωση που επιτείνεται από τη μείωση των γεννήσεων. Το δημογραφικό όμως είναι πρόβλημα ολόκληρης της Ευρώπης. Δεν μπορούμε να μιλούμε για ουσιαστική ευρωπαϊκή κοινωνική πολιτική αν δεν αντιμετωπίσουμε το δημογραφικό πρόβλημα. Οι θεωρίες ότι για την ανανέωση του ευρωπαϊκού πληθυσμού αρκούν οι μετανάστες έχουν πια ξεπεραστεί. Θέτω λοιπόν ως πρόταση την ανάγκη θέσπισης μιας κοινής ευρωπαϊκής δημογραφικής και οικογενειακής πολιτικής που θα έχει ως στόχο την αύξηση των γεννήσεων και την προστασία των οικογενειών που έχουν από 3 παιδιά και άνω σε όλα τα κράτη-μέλη. Αυτό σημαίνει οριζόντιες πολιτικές, όπως παροχή επιδομάτων, φοροαπαλλαγές, παροχές στην εκπαίδευση, στην υγεία, ακόμη και ευκαιρίες για εργασία. Νομίζω ότι είναι καιρός να πάψουμε να εθελοτυφλούμε απέναντι σε ένα μείζον πρόβλημα που αφορά όλη την Ευρώπη. Σας ευχαριστώ.
Благодаря ви. Господин Корджепа, Полша има думата. Заповядайте.
Szanowni Państwo, to zasadniczo bardzo dobrze się dzieje, że pani profesor Władimirowa zaprosiła nas do takiej ontyczno-ontologicznej refleksji dotyczącej większej wrażliwości Europy na kwestie inkluzji i sprawiedliwości. W naszym kraju rząd Prawa i Sprawiedliwości podjął te działania w oparciu o program zrównoważonego rozwoju i myślę, że to, co mówił Marcel HAAG, jest bardzo spójne z tym, co realizujemy teraz w kraju. I to jest nasz postulat i propozycja, żeby w paragrafie 5.2 naszej końcowej konkluzji zawrzeć przede wszystkim postulat konwergencji społecznej zgodnie z zrównoważonym rozwojem gospodarczym państw członkowskich. Mógłbym przywołać dziesiątki programów socjalnych, które teraz wdrażamy. Kolega BLAHA w swoim wystąpieniu tak jakby wprowadził nas w pewien pejzaż poetycki, natomiast nasi obywatele oczekują od nas pewnego realizmu gospodarczego i ekonomicznego. Dlatego też program 500+, program Mieszkanie+, program Wyprawka, programy adresowane do matek, które powielokroć urodziły już dzieci. To jest między innymi właśnie ta synergia między inkluzywnością, wrażliwością społeczną i sprawiedliwością społeczną, którą rekomenduję Państwu. Dziękuję bardzo.
Благодаря ви. Госпожа Вингриена има думата.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Dear colleagues, undoubtedly, the new initiative of European Pillar of Social Rights is an ambitious and benevolent one, mainly because it encourages us to look for balance between economic and social policies in time when extremism seems to be regrettably popular. The pillar covers what should be the common guiding principle of social well-being, and while they are hardly new to us, their realization is becoming increasingly difficult due to the emergence of new forms of employment and various new social challenges faced by every member state. It is important to stress that while we do believe the EU has the collective task to striving for the implementation of the principles, we also realize the upholding the ideals of social rights pillar is the duty of the member states themselves. We can't expect any significant changes to simply descend upon us from the glass corridors of Brussels. This means that despite our best intentions, we can't reasonably hope draft universal one-size-fits-all solution for this, as our national legislation systems, traditions, and social economic specificities are totally different. So even tough, the pillar provides a strong basis for taking action at the national level. It should be implemented by taking into account the circumstances of the different member states. The distribution of competences at EU, national and local levels, the subsidiarity principle and the autonomy of the social partners needed to be taken into account as well. I'm sure that all of the delegates who have been here today are sincere in their pleasure to work hard towards the goal of providing our citizens with dependable social security and employment relations. Thank you.
Благодаря. Думата има госпожа Маркеш, Португалия.
Muito obrigada. Eu queria começar por reconhecer o trabalho da presidência búlgara e agradecer ao Christian Viegin, a organização desta reunião da COSAC e também a noite gastronómica e cultural que nos proporcionou ontem. Eu tinha dois pontos. Um primeiro ponto, a implementação do Pilar Europeu dos Direitos Sociais começa a fazer o seu percurso no quadro do semestre europeu. De forma lenta, mas começa a fazer o seu percurso. Marcel HAAG fez-nos o balanço desse percurso e agradeço o balanço que nos apresentou aqui. Mas nós temos de colocar na agenda política europeia um ponto. É que nós temos objetivos orçamentais quantificados, mas os objetivos sociais não estão, os objetivos fixados no Pilar Europeu dos Direitos Sociais não estão ao mesmo nível de exigência dos objetivos orçamentais e este ponto tem que ser colocado na agenda política. Um segundo ponto, o digital é uma prioridade da presidência búlgara, mas o digital não pode gerar novas discriminações. Dentro de 10 anos, não podemos lamentar os excluídos da digitalização como lamentamos hoje os excluídos da globalização. E não são só os pobres, são muitas classes que foram afetadas e excluídas da globalização. Portanto, dar prioridade e investir na promoção de competências digitais é uma urgência ao nível europeu. Ainda uma última questão. Como é que se colocam, e é um ponto que temos que colocar também na agenda política europeia, como é que se colocam os direitos sociais nos trabalhadores das plataformas digitais? Muito obrigada.
Благодаря ви. Давам думата на господин Бьорк, Швеция.
Tack för det, fru ordförande, och jag vill inleda med att instämma i ordförandens inledningsanförande där det sägs att medborgarna kan se fördelarna med EU genom den här sociala pelaren. Det är viktigt. Men jag tycker att den sociala pelaren också ska framhållas som viktig för att medborgarna inte ska uppleva globalisering, digitalisering, robotisering, migration etc. som ett hot. I Sverige har vi en lång erfarenhet att klara omställningar i samhället tack vare starka sociala skyddsnät. Det kan också medborgarna se utveckling och modernitet som en möjlighet och inte ett hot. Jag vill också, precis som delegaten från Litauen, påpeka att EUs sociala pelare är viktig, men det är också viktigt att påpeka då att huvudansvaret ligger inom det enskilda medlemslandets eget ansvar. Och som svensk så vill jag också dessutom påpeka då att det är viktigt att vi tar hänsyn till olika länder och olika länders arbetsmarknadsmodeller. Men sammantaget så ska vi här, tycker jag, ändå se att ett socialt Europa, det är också grunden för ett framgångsrikt och modernt Europa. Tack för ordet.
Благодаря ви. Господин Шенах, Австрия има думата. Заповядайте.
Danke sehr. Ich möchte zuerst den Referenten herzlich danken für die Einführung. Es ist gar nicht so selbstverständlich, dass wir über eine soziale Säule reden. Dafür war der Göteborg-Gipfel notwendig. Denn ein Tisch oder ein Sessel, der nicht aus 4 Beinen besteht, ist eine sehr wackelige Angelegenheit. Waren, Dienstleistungen und Kapital in der EU fließen, aber die soziale Frage bleibt in den einzelnen Mitgliedstaaten und das ist eine Fehlkonstruktion. Das heißt, wir brauchen mehr soziale Kompetenz. Wir brauchen zum Beispiel ein europäisches Arbeitsamt, so wie wir europäische Forschung fördern Und wir brauchen ein geändertes Budget. Derzeit haben wir ein Budget, dass wir glauben, die EU ist ein agrarischer Entwicklungskontinent. Wir brauchen genau in diesen Bereichen und die Sicherstellung, dass zum Beispiel durch die Grundrechte des Lissabonner Vertrages die Gleichheit, gleicher Lohn für gleiche Arbeit und so weiter sichergestellt wird. Und dass arbeitsrechtliche Unterläufungen nicht mehr so passieren, wie sie derzeit passieren durch die Entsenderichtlinie, zum Beispiel über Scheinfirmen in anderen Staaten Menschen im Baugewerbe zu beschäftigen, dass die meisten Lkw-Fahrer in einem ganz anderen Land gemeldet sind, wo es keine rechtlichen hohen Absicherungen und Grundlagen gibt. All diesen Missbrauch, für das brauchen wir eine soziale Kompetenz. Derzeit haben wir den Solidaritätsfonds, den Globalisierungsfonds und den Fonds zur Armutbekämpfung, aber wir haben nicht diese echte Kompetenz. Da müssen sich die Nationalstaaten und die Kommission und das Europäische Parlament bewegen in Richtung, diese Säule, die nun in Göteborg geschaffen worden ist, auch inhaltlich und materiell zu befüllen. Ich glaube, das ist die Zukunft und das brauchen wir. Dann ist auch die Akzeptanz bei den Bürger und Bürgerinnen der Europäischen Union höher und nicht nur eine Banken-, Energie- und Wirtschaftsunion.
Благодаря ви. Госпожа де Санта Ана Фернандес, Испания, има думата.
Muchas gracias, Presidenta. La dimensión social europea es uno de los grandes desafíos que tenemos por delante para seguir avanzando en el proyecto europeo. Con el 7% de la población global y el 25% de la riqueza, el gasto social de los países miembros de la Unión Europea supone el 50% del gasto social en el mundo. Y creo que debemos tener muy presentes que el desarrollo sostenible debe dar lugar al progreso social y a una mayor cohesión, y que la política social debe considerarse un factor productivo y no solo garantizar unas redes de seguridad. El pilar social europeo es uno de los grandes retos de la Europa del futuro y donde más claramente los europeos sienten la protección de este proyecto político. No basta con la economía, el desarrollo y el crecimiento. Los europeos necesitan consolidar el sentimiento de pertenencia a la Unión Europea. Europa tiene que dar soluciones a los ciudadanos en sus necesidades más cotidianas y con una protección social que les proteja de la precariedad y del riesgo de exclusión social. El ciudadano ha de sentirse y saberse el centro del proyecto político europeo. Solo de este modo superaremos la gran crisis de confianza que por parte de la ciudadanía cada vez es mayor en la Unión Europea. Solo de este modo estaremos preparados para hacer frente a los nacionalismos que socavan el proyecto europeo, al incremento de la xenofobia o a los populismos. Los ciudadanos reclaman en todos los Estados miembros igualdad de oportunidades y acceso al mercado de trabajo, unas condiciones de trabajo justas y una protección social adecuada y sostenible. España comparte plenamente la idea de que la Unión debe promover, teniendo en cuenta un crecimiento sostenible, el progreso económico y social, la cohesión, la convergencia y la integridad del mercado interior. Es por ello que damos la bienvenida al Pilar Europeo de Derechos Sociales, que, respetando la multiplicidad de los sistemas nacionales existentes y sus distintas situaciones y características en los diferentes Estados miembros, ofrezca una respuesta a los desafíos del siglo XXI en el ámbito social y laboral. Muchas gracias.
Благодаря ви. Господин Тьонс, Германия, има думата.
Vielen Dank, Frau Vorsitzende. Die Europäische Union ist entstanden aus einer Wirtschaftsunion. Und da liegt eigentlich auch ein Konstruktionsproblem, das wir haben, nämlich die bisher fehlende soziale Säule. Und ich glaube, dass, wenn man aus der Krise kommend, die wir ja alle erlebt haben vor einigen Jahren, gar nicht so lange her, dann wissen wir ganz genau, dass wir die Akzeptanz für die Europäische Union, gerade bei den Menschen in unseren Mitgliedstaaten, nur dann haben, wenn sie auch einen Mehrwert haben. Und dieser Mehrwert heißt auch soziale Absicherung. Das heißt, wir müssen bei den Lebensbedingungen der Menschen und bei den sozialen Bedingungen der Menschen anfassen. Und das ist Aufgabe unter anderem der Europäischen Union. Und lassen Sie mich vielleicht noch eines sagen, was aus meiner Sicht wichtig ist. Wir verankern zukünftig in vielen, vielen Freihandelsabkommen, die die Kommission verhandelt und die das Europaparlament am Ende abstimmen wird, verhandeln wir Nachhaltigkeitskapitel intensiv. Darum geht es auch um Lebensbedingungen in den Staaten, die wir dort mit Freihandel, mit denen wir ein Freihandelsabkommen schließen. Wenn wir das tun, müssen wir das auch für unsere Menschen in der Europäischen Union tun. Ich halte das für zwingend geboten und wichtig. Und ein letzter Satz. Es passt nicht ganz ins Bild, da muss ich einem meiner Vorredner recht geben, dass bei der Kohäsionspolitik gekürzt wird. Das ist eine Erfolgspolitik, genauso wie die soziale Säule eine Erfolgspolitik werden kann, während wir die Menschen dabei vernachlässigen.
Благодаря ви. Госпожа Дьосютер, Белгия има думата.
Thank you. Colleagues, peace and stability in the European Union depends on sustainable welfare in its member states and therefore on strong social protection. This has been enshrined in the European Social Charter and the EU treaties, as Mr. BLAHA reminded us. Unfortunately, the economic project of the EU has so far largely neglected the social framework to go with it. Social policy has too long only meant job creation based on a recipe of deregulation. Colleagues, the Pillar of Social Rights offers a valuable compass, but what is it really worth? Indeed, the European economic and social agenda for the next years should be much more ambitious if it wants to reduce social inequality, exclusion and poverty, if it wants to promote gender equality and contribute to the creation of sustainable and high-quality jobs. It will also need to provide for the necessary social investments. And in order to achieve all of this, we will need binding measures, strong instruments, and financial incentives to make it happen. Let me make two suggestions. As a first suggestion, take the Stability and Growth Pact, SGP. At least 4 areas of public social expenditure should be considered for exemption from the corrective and preventative arm of SGP. Early childhood care, primary and secondary school education, training and active labor market policies, and affordable and social housing. These fields are increasing prosperity because they improve labor productivity and reduce societal inequality. As a second suggestion, the social scoreboard must be used as input to the European semester so that the European semester also enforces clear social objectives in the same restrictive manner as it is currently imposing on budgetary rules. Giving friendly recommendations to member states will not be enough, I'm afraid. Colleagues, if we want to win back the hearts and the minds of our citizens, we'll have to offer them not only prosperity and security, but also social protection. We therefore seriously need to strengthen and implement the Pillar of Social Rights. And I will end by quoting François Mitterrand, who said, "Europe will be social or will not be." Thank you.
Благодаря. Господин Хансен, Норвегия има думата. Заповядайте.
Thank you, Chair. Norway supports initiatives to strengthen the social dimension of the European cooperation. The European Pillar of Social Rights is a positive initiative to that end. It is important to start by ensuring better enforce existing regulation, but it may also be need for new rules and systems. Good and fair working conditions are necessary parts of a well-functioning markets. Thus, I see a need for develop a coherent European strategy for combating work-related crime. The Norwegian Prime Minister has launched an initiative to that end. The proposal for a European Labour Authority can contribute to more cooperation and better enforcement. However, I would like to underline that the new authority, as well as other initiatives, must respect the different national labour markets model. To a large degree, the Nordic model leaves to the trade union and business organizations to negotiate wages. It is also based on a strong cooperation between employees, employers, and government. This three-part cooperation works well. It's based on mutual trust and respect, and it's also important to facilitate necessary structural reforms. One example is that a new pension reform was agreed in Norway without one single day of strike. Thank you very much.
Благодаря ви. Госпожа Хилър, Германия има думата.
Ja, herzlichen Dank. Ich möchte gerne für den Bundesrat auch ein paar Worte noch zu der sozialen Dimension sagen. Und zwar ist es so, dass sicherlich das wichtigste Ziel bei der sozialen Dimension sein soll, dass es viel sichtbarer wird, was wir für unsere Bürgerinnen und Bürger auch machen. Deswegen muss das weiterentwickelt werden. Wir in Deutschland erleben, dass es in sehr vielen Städten über Pulse of Europe, aber auch über andere Aktionen einen großen Bedarf gibt, ein sozialeres Europa, ein politischeres Europa zu entwickeln. Voraussetzung dafür sind natürlich als erstes starke soziale Partner, die dafür die Voraussetzungen zum Beispiel sind, dass es starke Gewerkschaften gibt, die auch gut verhandeln für die Bürgerinnen und Bürger. Also ein starker sozialer Dialog muss gestärkt werden, auch in Brüssel. Eine weitere Voraussetzung ist meiner Meinung nach aber auch die Solidarität von uns allen, dass alle Regionen, dass alle Kommunen, alle lokalen Partner erkennen, dass es Europa gibt und dass Europa für sie da ist. Wir erleben das in Deutschland sehr stark, dass manche Regionen das Gefühl haben, es kümmert sich niemand um sie und dass es wichtig ist, dass Europa auch da wirkt. Das Ziel sollte nicht sein, dass die Sozialmodelle der Europäischen Union vereinheitlicht werden. Das ist häufig eine Sorge, die wir in Deutschland haben, wenn wir über ein soziales Europa sprechen, sondern dass es eine wirklich echte Perspektive zur Verbesserung der Lebenslagen aller Europäerinnen und Europäer gibt. Also nicht die Vereinheitlichung, sondern dass es schon die eigenen, auch nationalen oder regionalen Besonderheiten gibt, aber trotzdem, dass wir eben das Soziale weiterentwickeln. Ein erster Schritt könnte dort eine gemeinsame europäische Arbeitslosenversicherung sein. Wir stehen sicherlich in einem Spannungsverhältnis zurzeit. Ich will nur noch abschließend sagen, dass es wichtig ist, dass in den Haushaltsberatungen jetzt die europäischen Sozialfonds und die sozialen Strukturen erstmal ausgebaut werden und auch Erasmus+, das ist mir sehr wichtig, und dass wir gemeinsam sehen, dass wir zu einem wirklichen sozialen Europa zukünftig kommen. Danke.
Благодаря ви. Думата има господин Ван Апелдорн, Холандия.
Yes, thank you, Chair, and the panelists for discussing the European Pillar of Social Rights, the human face of the EU, as my colleague Mr. BLAHA put it in his passionate plea. Most of us do want to have strong social rights in the EU, but the question is how to achieve this and how to have rights that are also legally enforceable. One option that thus far has been rather lacking from at least recent debates is the role that could be played by the European Social Charter of the Council of Europe, which in fact offers strong protection of social rights, but involvement of the EU could strengthen the Charter, while vice versa, this could also strengthen the social pillar of the EU. So one possibility would be to explicitly refer to the European Social Charter in the guidelines for impact assessments. But arguably a bigger step forward could be an accession of the EU to the European Social Charter. In this way, the legally binding social rights of the Charter would be integrated into the EU legal framework and ensure that these rights are also always respected by EU policies and EU laws. So I'm keen to hear the whole panel's opinions about whether the route of the European Social Charter, rather than maybe the legislative agenda of the Commission, could in fact be a good way of making the European social pillar a reality for Europe's citizens. Thank you.
Благодаря ви. Господин Лейнс, Латвия има думата. Заповядайте.
Yes, EEP party. Cohesion funds raised Latvia's standards by 19% in a few years. Still, we have not quite reached the EU level average. Improving social and economic conditions have helped slow down our working force leaving Latvia for higher paying jobs in the western part of the EU. People are now in fact returning because wages are growing, but not fast enough. Our citizens are still leaving, though in much diminished numbers. Fact is, in mostly Ireland and Great Britain, they have contributed 15 billion euros to these countries' wealth. Since the Great Recession, Should not these wealth generation contributions be factored in the next MFF cohesion funds? By the way, the receipts we have received back from these countries nowhere compensate the wealth our people have generated in the western part of Europe.
Благодаря ви. Господин Дъркън, Ирландия, имате думата.
I think the most fundamental policy to create stability and social and economic stability is investment in jobs. I think that having come through the kind of economic recession that we came through in Ireland over the past 10 years almost now, I think it is a salutary lesson for us that in order to achieve stability and peace in the workplace and in the economy in general, we need to invest in jobs, in education, in upskilling our labour force, in switching to new employments that replace those employments that have become obsolete. If we do that, and we do that successfully, and I believe that we are doing that to the best of our ability now, I think we will be successful. One of the things that I remember about 8 or 9 years ago at a COSAC meeting was the question was raised, where has social Europe gone? There was a simple answer. The countries, the member states across Europe could no longer afford it. That was the problem. And if we do not have economic stability, if we do not have economic investment ongoing, then we won't have social security, we won't have things like social housing. And for example, the whole area of social in the housing area is an area that I am amazed at over the years. We didn't have what you call social housing. We had economic housing and economic policy that provided houses for people to buy or to rent in the public sector. It was never called social housing, and it was better when we had it that way.
Благодаря ви. Сега госпожа Тие, Франция.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Je crois que le diagnostic il est clair pour tout le monde. L'Union européenne fait face à de nombreux défis en matière sociale. Donc faire du socle européen des droits sociaux une priorité de l'Union est une nécessité. Mais pendant très longtemps, on a cru ou feint de croire que l'harmonisation sociale en Europe se fera naturellement, qu'elle suivrait l'harmonisation économique prévue et facilitée par les traités. Or, l'Europe sociale est un concept pour l'instant et pas une réalité. Les discussions autour de la révision sur le détachement des travailleurs ont montré la difficulté de parvenir à un consensus en matière d'harmonisation sociale. Mais aujourd'hui, effectivement, l'harmonisation sociale est une nécessité tant du point de vue de la justice sociale que de l'efficacité économique. C'est un enjeu de survie pour l'Union européenne en général et surtout pour son acceptation par nos citoyens. Et pour la zone euro aussi en particulier, il est illusoire de croire que nous parviendrons à un fonctionnement optimal de la zone euro tant que les salaires et les taux d'activité serviront de variables d'ajustement. Mais le problème, c'est que nos modèles nationaux sont pour l'instant en compétition les uns avec les autres. Donc ce qu'il nous faudrait aujourd'hui, c'est la vraie volonté politique. Et la question, c'est que est-ce qu'on en est capable à l'heure qu'il est? Merci.
Благодаря ви. Госпожа Крецо, Румъния има думата.
Thank you very much, Chair. Dear friends, we all could agree that a main real, not fake at all, reason of our citizens' discontent with the EU, it is the effect of having a single market but 28 different social systems, economy without borders, but social indicators and responsibilities with national borders. This situation allows an unfair competition and increasing inequalities, very much exploited, as you know, by populist and Eurosceptic parties. The competition between companies in the market, we are used to praising for its supposed role in economic progress. It has been replaced by one between working classes living in different member states, producing a kind of convergence to the bottom and a weaker and weaker solidarity. We support a strong social pillar, welcoming the current proposal, but seeing it as being somehow marginal, a set of palliative measures, limited not because of lacking legal basis in the treaties, but because of lacking political will for a change, for different reasons in West and East, in North and South, but lacking, however. The main social issues, it is not, however, the absence of a legal framework for social rights. European Union has an income distribution problem fueling social unrest and undermining social fabric, actually. The fourth industrial revolution with digital economy and automation will make the situation even worse, as long as our social security system, our many systems, actually, and the large majority of the social rights are linked to the fact of having a job. We need increasing awareness about the current changes in the production system, imagination, political courage, and innovative solutions, quickly. The future has already happened yesterday, and nobody in this room is old enough for not living it. Thank you.
Благодаря ви. Думата има господин Крокуел, Ирландия.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the issue of social rights, the European pillar, I'm delighted to hear this afternoon a number of people speaking about the need for strong trade unions working in harmony with employers and government to provide a solid basis for their country. Sadly, a lot of the legislation that has been brought about through the union over the years, employers, generally private sector employers, but some public sector employers, seek to exploit that legislation. For example, the contract of indefinite duration, which was intended to give workers some comfort in the jobs they had, has been exploited to develop zero-hour contracts. And this is something that the union must work with. My colleague already addressed the issue of homelessness and the health service. Health, education and homes should be a basic human right in any of the European states. And this is something that, unless we get that right, we're going to run into trouble. 92% of Irish people support membership of the European project. Sadly, the 8% have the loudest voice. And we are now living in a world where the minorities, the populists, are driving people away from this project, this marvellous project which has brought peace to the continent, which has brought prosperity to most countries. But because the populists have the loudest voice, we must start delivering the message to the people on the ground and stop running away from the decisions we negotiate and we make. This, I'll conclude on this, in the areas of education and health, the European Union has competence to support, coordinate and supplement the actions taken by Member States. It's vital that any decisions in these areas be taken at the most appropriate level so that the implementation of pillar respect the remit and role of the Member States. Thank you very much indeed, Chair.
Благодаря ви, госпожа Йонова.
Thank you, dear colleagues. Ukraine is on a track of long-awaited reforms which will create the ground for our country to build democratic and social-oriented state. Allow me to inform you that recent years Ukraine has achieved significant progress on European paths and cooperation with the EU. As a result, we have association agreement, establishment of deep and comprehensive free trade area, introduction of visa-free regime with the EU, and now European Union is the largest trading partner. Also, we streamlined our homework on joining to agreements of conformity, assessment and acceptance of industrial goods. We are thinking also about future steps in a strategic terms. We should start on examine our accountability to the 4 EU freedoms: free movement of goods, services, capital and persons. That is why Ukrainian President, government and parliament, we are so committed to create customs, digital and energy unions. Also, we have remarkable changes in such areas as judicial reform, decentralization, energy efficiency, pension reform and healthcare reform. I would like to remind that, unfortunately, because of Russian aggression, we have 1,800,000 internally displaced people. And that is why we also have adopted a legislation to defend their rights. Ukraine is changing, and together with colleagues from Georgia and Moldova, which also have association agreement, we are very committed to fulfill our homework. And I would like to underline that we are Eastern Partnership countries. We belong to countries of Eastern Europe. We are not buffer zone. Thank you.
Благодаря ви. Баронес Верма има дума.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. And I'd like to just make a couple of points, Madam Chairman. A number of speakers have spoken about the rise of populism within their countries and also talked about social rights. I think what we need to recognise are two things. One, that national governments are really responsible for making sure that working, living rights in their countries are top of their agendas, and those are then best practice shared across our European partners. I think it's important that we speak up of the strength of what the European model does, and I think we should allow and encourage debate. A number of members have also spoken about Brexit and the single market. And of course, Madam Chairman, what we would like to see leaving Brexit is that we still retain a very strong relationship with all our member countries, and that the workers' rights, whether they are in the UK or in our member states, that those UK rights, member state rights are equal, and that no person living in any country feels that their rights are not being upheld. And we have put into place in debates in the UK assurances to members in our country that those rights will be upheld. Madam Chairman, we have committed in a number of interventions in recent days, and I'm sure member states would have looked at them, pay gender parity, looking at harassment rights. All of these things add up to ensuring that workers, people living in the UK, feel protected.
Благодаря ви. Лорд Хей, имате думата.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. And can I further congratulate the Bulgarian presidency for their well-constructed background paper for this topic. The House of Lords EU Select Committees are currently scrutinising 4 substantial dossiers relating to the European Pillar of Social Rights. In its correspondence with our committee, the UK government appears broadly satisfied with the direction of travel on these proposals in the Council. It notes that member states have stressed the importance of subsidiarity, and it notes that member states have stressed the need for discretion to adapt matters to their local circumstances. Our committee is happy with this progress and hopes and believes that the thinking behind the dossiers will be reflected both in EU policy and in UK policy post-Brexit. Finally, can I associate myself with the excellent suggestions of Mr. Van Apeldoorn of the Netherlands Senate and his question. Thank you.
Благодаря ви. Господин Варела, имате думата. Испания.
Buenas tardes. Bueno, como han hablado ya hoy otros colegas y otras colegas, el problema fundamental en la Europa actual es la desigualdad entre personas, entre territorios y me atrevería incluso a decir, atendiendo a la virulencia con la que tratamos la realidad migratoria, que también entre razas. Ahora mismo el foco no está donde debería, no hay una relación entre crecimiento económico y desarrollo social. Esto significa pobreza, exclusión y un cuestionamiento del proyecto europeo como esa Europa social, avanzada, democrática y solidaria que dio sentido al proyecto y que tanta ciudadanía reclama todavía. El modelo social europeo se tambalea si permitimos que la austeridad lo atraviese todo y si permitimos, además, que continúen existiendo millones de trabajadores y trabajadoras pobres. No podemos hablar de pilar social europeo sin disponer de un nivel de gasto público europeo que permita redistribuir, y el actual presupuesto no lo permite, de forma que los recursos y las políticas públicas lleguen a aquellos y aquellas que más lo necesitan. Sé de lo que hablo, vengo de un país con una enorme potencia humana y productiva, y concretamente de Galicia, un país donde reivindicamos la importancia de la distribución entre territorios y entre sectores sociales para que nadie quede nunca atrás. Todos y todas estamos habitualmente de acuerdo en las declaraciones, pero no llevamos muchas veces a cabo políticas públicas para hacer de la Europa otra vez una Europa del bienestar y los derechos sociales, una Europa para las mayorías. Caminemos más allá de las palabras a los hechos para reconstruir una Europa de los pueblos y de las personas.
Благодаря ви. Господин Тилвар, Румъния.
Mulțumesc. Dragi prieteni, vreau să spun câteva cuvinte despre viitorul comun al Europei, clădit și extins prin eforturile cetățenilor și ai reprezentanților lor spre domenii socioeconomice din ce în ce mai diverse și spre Europa a echității sociale. Ca politicieni suntem datori să privim mai departe, dincolo de drepturile și obligațiile consemnate în tratatele Uniunii, pentru a întări cooperarea în domeniile învățământului și educației, altfel spus, pentru a construi viitorul tinerei generații. Avem în statele membre o diversitate culturală unică, chiar dacă forța prin care aceasta se manifestă este inevitabil inegală. Experiența democratică este mai scurtă în unele state și acesta este un dat istoric de care nu avem cum să nu ținem seama. Dorim să ocrotim această diversitate, una din sursele bunăstării noastre de astăzi și o garanție a solidității Uniunii. Este un efort colectiv, inclusiv al celor ce contribuie la dezvoltarea comună, aflați în alte state decât cele în care au copilărit, și al celor mai puțin obișnuiți să-și exprime dorințele, pentru că istoria a fost mai puțin darnică cu țările lor. Asigurarea mobilității lucrătorilor trebuie să fie un element al consolidării unei Uniuni echitabile. Beneficiul de pe urma educației și accesul la serviciile de sănătate trebuie să fie similare oriunde în Uniune, dacă o dorim mai puternică. Aplicarea principiilor proclamației pilonului social se bazează pe o economie la fel de puternică în toate statele membre și în toate regiunile Uniunii. Dacă vom reuși să promovăm convergența economică, vom reuși să reducem și diferențele de dezvoltare din perspectivă socială. Vă mulțumesc!
Благодаря ви. С последното изказване ще закрием дебата. Господин Madison, Estonia, заповядайте.
Aitäh! Väga põnev on kuulata debatti, siin on ideid seinast seina, kuidas tagada suuremat võrdsust Euroopa Liidus ja paremat heaolu kodanikele, kuid alati mulle meeldib korrata ühte kuldset Margaret Thatcheri tsitaati. The problem with the socialism is that eventually you run out of other people's money. Või teine ilus tsitaat, seal kus on võrdsus, pole vabadust ja kus on vabadus, pole võrdsust. Need on paraku alused majandusest, et ainuke asi, mis toob meile heaolu, on majanduskasv, töökohtade loomine ja töökus. Jutud sellest, et meil on vaja rohkem ümberjagamist, me peame rohkem tõstma ühest taskust teise, see ongi sotsialism. Ja inimnäolist sotsialismi on väga vähe nähtud. Üldjuhul lõpeb see väga kurvalt. Ma võin teile näite tuua. Kui me räägime võrdsusest ja heaolust, siis kui paljud riigid 28-st oleks nõus kopeerima näiteks Eesti süsteemi, kus lapsevanemale emale on tagatud 18 kuud palka. Ta saab 1,5 aastat palka, mida ta teenis enne, kui ta sai emaks. Kas riigid, kes nõuavad suuremat võrdsust ja ümberjagamist, on nõus seda süsteemi kopeerima? Vaevalt. Ja ma ei tahaks, et te peaks seda kopeerima. Kõik riigid on erinevad. Meie probleemid on erinevad. Kuid kõik need probleemid on saanud alguse ühest põhilisest asjast, demograafia. Ja seetõttu ma tunnustan ka väga Kreeka kolleegi Maksimos Karakopoulos, kui ma õigesti nime mäletan, kes tõi ühena vähestest täna välja selle probleemi. Heaolu ei saa kasvada ilma, kui meil pole sündivust ja demograafia kasvu, sest see loob aluse edukaks majanduseks ja rikkuse tulekuks. Mitte miski muu. ja see on ka alus olnud, miks on täna Euroopa olnud niivõrd edukas sotsiaalsüsteemis ja heaoluühiskonnas. Aitäh!
Благодаря на всички за отправените предложения и коментари. Сега давам думата на професор Владимирова.
Аз бих искала да помоля господин Марсел ХААГ за кратък коментар по направените дебати в неговия аспект. Благодаря ви.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Moderator. I will limit myself to 3 comments and an apology. Maybe I start with the apology to get this out of the way. I am not in a position to answer the very specific question on the European Social Charter because I'm not an expert for the Council of Europe legal system. What I can tell you is that when the Commission was drawing up its proposal for the social pillar, it worked closely with the colleagues from the Council of Europe, but also the colleagues from the International Labour Organization, to make sure that the pillar is fully coherent and consistent with the Council of Europe and the ILO rules. Not being an expert for the Council of Europe system, I have to say this would have to be studied by my expert colleagues more closely. Now, if there is any similarity to the accession that, as you know, the European Union is committed to with the Lisbon Treaty to the European Convention of Human Rights, then there would be significant political and legal obstacles that would have to be overcome. As you know, the European Court in Luxembourg has given an opinion on the question of the accession to the ECHR, and has set out how potential difficulties can be overcome, but the problems there, the technical and legal problems, are really quite big in that area. Now, I'd like to come to my 3 brief points. First of all, what I take away from the discussion is, and different speakers said it in different ways. The objective is very clear. Some talked about the need for Europe with a more human face. Others talked about a Europe that has to provide concrete value added for its citizens. There seems to be a very large agreement on this being the objective, and this objective is also shared by the Juncker Commission. And then one will have to have a discussion on the ways to get there, and what that concretely means for family policy and for the pension rights of women. And there I could see that there are very different views on the way forward, but that is part of the political process to find an agreement and take decisions on these. My second point is on the importance of the single market. Some speakers referred to the single market directly, others indirectly by raising different issues. And indeed, the single market is at the core of the European project, and is also at the heart of social Europe. It is important that the single market is supported by a strong social safety net. It's important that that the single market delivers upward social and economic convergence across the EU, a process that has stalled as a consequence of the crisis, and where it is of utmost importance that the EU finds its way back to becoming the convergence engine that the EU has been up until the crisis. It is also crucial that this single market is based on rules that are perceived as fair, and not only that the rules are being perceived as fair, but also the implementation of the rules is being perceived as fair. The Commission has made a number of proposals, including a proposal for a European Labour Authority that go into the direction of making sure that there is no cheating in the single market, and that the rules are actually also being complied with. And my third point would be on implementation. Implementation is absolutely key. The social pillar must not remain a poem, and in order to make sure that this is not the case, these rights and principles that are set out in the European Pillar of Social Rights have to be implemented. We have to make progress on turning these principles and rights into reality, and that is something which is in as much a European challenge as it is for each member state to deliver on. Thank you very much.
Давам думата на господин JAHIER, също за заключителен коментар.
Thank you so much, Madam Moderator. First of all, I want to thank for the high level of the debate, that although there was some nuance, but all the direction were in the same direction, to saying that the social pillar is a key cornerstone for the future of Europe. Of course, no one of us wants to speak about the pillar as a poem, because if we define or we leave the social pillar and what was proclaimed in Gothenburg as a poem, we are saying that the European Treaty is only a poem. Because from one point of view, there was no need to adopt a social pillar in Gothenburg, because quite everything is already written in the treaty. As the EESC said in an opinion demanded by the President Van Rompuy at the time he was President of the Council, 1/3 of what is written today in the European Treaty concern social issue. And if you look to the Charter of Fundamental Rights of the European Union, is also in the same direction. But we need the social pillar as a political act to reestablish a balance and to establish a perceived consensus and the perceived compass of all the institutions and member states. And I think that the difficulty of the process that was going on for 2 years before the adoption, and even the last-minute difficulties for the adoption in Gothenburg, tell us that this pillar was more than fundamental. I think, and that will be my two short considerations, first, that for the future of Europe, we have two crucial points to deal with. The one is concerning the identity of Europe. And this is what is in the Article 2 of the treaty, that should be read, reread every day. It concerns fundamental values, fundamental rights, but also solidarity, social justice, non-discrimination, and so on. And the second is concerning what European Union aims to realize, that is fixed in a very clear way in the Article 3 of the treaty. That is the concrete political manifesto, the concrete guideline of what we agreed all together to do. And if I read only one part of this Article Treaty, it said that the aim of the Union is a highly competitive social market economy aiming at full employment and social progress. It was already stated in our Constitution. So this is already established. The problem is now the implementation. And the pillar established a sort of chart of principles that need now a roadmap and concrete action. Some could be legal proposal, as the one mentioned by the Commission now, but from my point of view, the two major ones for the specificities of the social policy will be, first, the European semester. And in the European semester, we have to work, as some of the intervenants have underlined, for transforming also the social scoreboard in binding one. This was exactly what we were demanding at least a few years ago as EESC, and also in the debate of the Parliament, it was in the same line. We need to have this European semester scheme as a scheme of common governance, respecting the diversity, but going in the same direction, but using indicator as scoreboard with binding rule, as for the deficit, as for the growth, as for the investment in innovation, as for sustainability, as for climate change, and as also for the social issue. If you do not build up a sort of direction using this instrument, as an instrument is accepted, see a rule of government, national parliament, European institutions on, we will lose the exercise. And the second will be the budget. Because the discussion about the budget, either the amount of the budget and either the balance inside the budget and either the way to spend the budget to use the investment will tell us if we are serious about the intention and the roadmap, or we want only to stay at the level of a poem. Just the last sentence. I think that we have an urgent need to come back to consider, as one of the champions of the liberal thought in Europe, Einaudi, that was a president of the Italian Republic, was said that the expenditure in the social sector are not a cost, are a key investment, because we need to build up a resilient and a more solid capacity to be competitive in the world of today. And so if we do not come to this concept and after consider this social investment as investment with all the rule of an investment, perhaps we will come back to a poem and not to a project. I am still convinced that we can do of this Article 3 of the treaty, or with the social pillar, is a way to make this evident, a concrete project for the future of Europe.
Благодаря ви, господин Жие. И накрая, в заключение, бих искала да обобща с едно изречение, поради липса на време. Благодаря на всички ви за интересния дебат, изключително интересния дебат, който проведохме, богат с много идеи и предложения, но ни предстои и ви предстои много работа по тяхното реализиране. Желая ви успех!
Уважаеми колеги и гости, благодаря ви за ползотворната дискусия. Считам, че тя беше полезна и навременна за всички ни в контекста на по-доброто взаимодействие и стимулиране обмяната на информация и гледни точки между националните парламенти по стратегически за Европейския съюз въпроси. Сега бих искал да направя кратко техническо съобщение. За всички делегати, освен за председателите на COSAC, автобусите ви очакват на входа за трансфер до хотелите. За председателите обявяваме кратка почивка и в 5 часа отново ви очакваме в залата. Благодаря ви, закривам сесията и ще се видим по-късно на вечеря.